Well, let's bring in Fox News contributor Andy McCarthy, former U.S. Assistant Attorney. So what's wrong with this picture?
Well, beginning with Hochul saying this has no place in New York. Unfortunately, New York is just the place for this kind of thing. And it's precisely because of the bail laws and the effort that's been made for the last couple of years to basically release people who should be in custody. And there are too many people who should be in custody who obviously aren't.
But also because he's a congressman, so there's that other wrinkle as well. This is not just a local crime matter.
It's not a local crime matter. He's a United States congressman, which means he's covered under the federal assault on a federal officer statute. And that means, Dana, they can move him into the federal system where there's real bail and real punishment. So,
but they chose not to.
Well, so far, it's really up to the U.S. Attorney and the FBI. So the local authorities made the arrest, which is what you would expect. They're the people on the scene. But I certainly hope the U.S. Attorney and the FBI are on this.
It's hard to believe that for legal purposes, this is described as an attempted assault. Yeah, I mean, he charged the stage and he went directly at the congressman.
Yeah, if they had called it attempted murder, I could understand that.
Right.
But this was not an attempted assault. This was a completed assault. And under New York, this is how crazy the law is. In New York, that's not considered a serious crime because it doesn't matter, as far as they're concerned, what his intent was. His intent could have been to kill Zeldin, but because we were fortunate that there were a lot of innocent bystanders who were willing to jump in and make sure nothing terrible happened, it's not a serious crime in New York. So that ends up working for the criminal and against New Yorkers because he didn't get seriously injured. And as a result, he's in a bucket where even though they call it a felony, he's not looking at real time, and they can't even set bail for him because under New York law, a judge can't detain someone pre-trial on the basis of dangerousness to the community.
It's weird to, you can see with your own eyes what happened.
Right.
And then they decide to release him on his own recognizance. I think it's pretty obvious that the cognizance is not very good.
Right. Well,
and maybe he's a danger to himself and others.
He's like a textbook case, if there's ever a textbook case for dangerousness. I mean, this is a guy who assaulted a gubernatorial candidate and a U.S. congressman in broad daylight in front of 1 million people.
And they're like, you're free to go.
Right.
Right. There was another story that came out, and that is that Elena Kagan, the Supreme Court Justice, very liberal, she was appointed under President Obama. So she is taking, basically making a statement about, she's worried about this court's legitimacy. I just want to read to you about what she said about the Supreme Court, get your reaction. She said, I'm not talking about any particular decision or any particular series of decisions, but if, over time, the court loses all connection with the public and the public sentiment, that's a dangerous thing for democracy. We have a court that does important things, and if that connection is lost, that's a dangerous thing for the democratic system as a whole. The sentiment emphasis was my own.
Yes.
But I think that's a key word in this sentence.
It sure is, because a court's legitimacy, court's not a legislature, right? So a legislature's legitimacy is if they have a connection with the public sentiment, because the public is the people to whom the legislature's accountable. The court is intentionally insulated from politics because we don't want it to be accountable to the public. We want it to be accountable to the law and to the Constitution. So the court's legitimacy doesn't depend on a connection to the public, except insofar as the public wants the court to follow the law. Right. And if the court makes a decision that's unpopular with the public, what that means is the legislature should change the law, not that there's something wrong with the court.
Indeed. And you know that if that decision had gone the other way, that she wouldn't have said that.
We wouldn't be.
No, we'd be right with public sentiment.
Exactly.
Or a Kagan sentiment.
Andy McCarthy, great to see you.
Great
have a good weekend.
Good
to have you here.
Good to see you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.